as teams and very difficult to defend against, and I don't think we crossed the ball enough during the 90 minutes.
OK, let's hear from captain Harry Kane with Kelly Summers.
Well, Harry, I imagine you're left scratching your head as to how you haven't won that match.
Yeah, it was one of those games. Difficult team to break down. Obviously, I think we had loads of possession of the ball. Probably the last 15 minutes of both halves was at our best. They started to tire towards the end. We had some chances there. Obviously, I had a big chance there. We hit the bar with Nico as well. So, it could have easily been a game where we come away with a win. In the end, we didn't concede too many chances. A couple of counter-attacks in the whole game, but they got some dangerous players, and overall we controlled that pretty well. So, look, we wanted to win, but we take the point, and we're still in a great position in the group.
I was going to say, when we see Harry Kane miss a chance like that, does that really tell us that it isn't England's day?
Yeah, you go through the games like that. I was kind of just there waiting for an opportunity like that to fall my way. It was kind of a game as a striker that you're kind of just waiting for the ball to bounce, and it did. I just couldn't quite get over the ball. But yeah, I'm backing myself to score that more often than not. So it is what it is. You know, I've been a striker long enough to know they don't always go in, so I have to accept it.
Shows you human, I guess. I think it was just 3 touches in the opposition box for you today. Did you feel like you were struggling to get in the game, or you were just really well marked?
Yeah, it was kind of man marked there with Partey for a lot of the game, so kind of didn't have the space to drop deep and then arrive later in the box. But they also defended the box well. You know, we had plenty of crosses. We had, but just couldn't quite get the first contacts. The balls through the middle were kind of tough to play because it was so compact in there. So it was a game I felt got better as we went along, and we started getting the wingers 1v1, and they was dangerous. But yeah, you go through games like that. You know, you're playing in the World Cup, you're playing against a decent side who are compact and make it difficult, and that's what we come against today.
4 points from the opening 2 games. England still happy?
Yeah, look, we're in a great position. We play Panama next, so yeah, I spoke before about major tournaments. You kind of chunk it up into 2 separate tournaments. First is the group stage, making sure you get through, and hopefully we can finish with a win and finish top. And then comes the second tournament, which is obviously the knockout stage. So we've almost done part 1. We recovered. That was a quick turnaround, but I think we'll look forward to getting back out there in a few days.
Thanks for your time, Harry.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
England still happy. Might not be going to the baseball this week, though. It's a slightly different tone. It's a different mood, as you can imagine, coming out of these interviews. 3 touches in the box and 19 touches in the whole game. It really wasn't Harry Kane's game today.
No, it's very difficult to play in that position against a low block. It is really difficult, and this is such a shock because you expect Harry Kane does not miss them chances. So when he misses a chance like this, it's such a surprise because you're just expecting the ball to hit the back of the net. But
what's he do wrong there, Wayne?
He just doesn't get his head over the ball. And listen, I'm not going to give Harry Kane advice. He keeps his head back, and he leans back a little bit, if you see, and his head, instead of getting his head over the ball and closing his body up, he just leans back a little bit, and that's why he goes over.
And a frustrated Thomas Tuchel there off the back of it. We saw a lot of that, didn't we, from Thomas Tuchel today, Joe?
Yeah, he is quite a frantic coach. He's quite emotional. He's very clean with what he's trying to give to his team. And he was frustrated. I think the Ghanaians were frustrating him just as much as his own teammates. But there's little bits and little messages, but they've got to keep learning. It's a relatively new team, starting to find their way, and they've come up some real adversity today, having been on such a high recently. I think they'll, like I say, it's one of those where they're going to have to learn so much from it as a squad and him as a manager.
I just think in these games it's more difficult than a game when you play against the better teams who are better going forward because there is more space. These games, and I know I don't want to go back to it, but these games are the games where you need a Phil Foden or a Cole Palmer because the little clever players in them tight areas where we've got Declan Rice, who through all Declan's qualities, getting in little tight areas and little link and play and stuff, that's where you probably need a Foden and Palmer.
Are they going to have this again, though, with Panama? Are they going to be frustrated in this same way, do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask Wayne in terms of, you know, as a defender, looking at it, you know, the structure, seeing everything in front of me, it's easy. But, you know, when you're in an attacking position and Panama are going to do the exact same, what did they need to do differently? You mentioned crosses, you mentioned potentially another striker, but I thought the weight of pass was off today as well. Is that fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. And I think you need to, when you're playing inside, you need to change the tempo and get outside quick so you can get crossed in the box. Or when you're playing outside, then when you come inside, do it quick, the tempo of the pass. As you said, the the pass of Reece James, especially, I thought there was a couple of times where he can lay it back and he can get a cross in, or just the pass we'd seen it in training, and maybe that's why he's doing it. Maybe they were sloppy in training, but passing it to the right foot so you can take your touch forward rather than coming here. Then you have to turn, and then they're all back in the shape. So just that tempo. Alan mentioned it during the game. The tempo and the speed of the ball makes such a difference against that low block.
Yeah, and of course, and teams are going to find different ways to frustrate England, especially those teams who are lower ranked, haven't got that kind of quality across the whole piece.
Yeah, well, we expected that. When, I got asked about the game, I thought England would win. I thought they would score early and then the game would open up. But in terms of how Ghana approach the game, say with Panama, they're going to be in the low block. And that's why you mentioned there that the Cole Palmer, the Phil Foden, it wasn't for me that... I like everything that Tuchel's done. I think he's made big decisions at the right times, and I respect him for that. But my worry was the fact that when we go against teams in a low block, have we got someone to produce one of those moments of magic? And tonight, I feel as though, not that we don't want to talk about players, we're not there, but it was stark. It was obvious for everyone to see the fact that when we're not on transition, that Madueke is so good at, and the rest of the guys, when you're in them tight little pockets, can you produce something? And there wasn't that tonight.
So have we learned that England haven't got the personnel to break teams like this?
I think they're just growing. I feel like it's a confidence thing. I think we all know if Saka was fully fit, he would be starting, and he can do that as well as running behind as well. But I just feel like in terms of risk today, there was not enough risk for an England team that won so well against Croatia.
But I think it's important to point out that other teams have struggled in this tournament. Other favourites have had these moments. Spain have had these moments, Portugal. You go through it, and no one goes through the World Cup winning it in recent history of having a clean slate. There's going to be tough games, and that was tough today. There's no getting away from it. But like we say, like we're all talking about here, they've got to learn from it. They've got to understand their positions. And Thomas Tuchel's going to take a lot of responsibility for the performance. Of course he is. He's the man who stands up and picks the team. But they've just got to stay on the same page and not get too carried away.
Yeah, Argentina lost their opening game, didn't they, of course, and went on to win it. Yeah. Let's hear from Jordan Pickford now.
Jordan, another point on the board for England, but what's the overriding emotion after that?
Yeah, I think we knew it was always going to be tough against Ghana, and they went into. We knew they played counter-attacking football. We kind of knew, but they probably went more 4-5-1 instead of 4-3-3, and yeah, they were really hard to break down. I think we had our chances, and we had to be wary of the counter-attack. It's football, it's always that one. When you get that first goal against them, get an early goal against them, it opens up the game a lot more. But they played a good game, and we've got to be happy. We're still top of the group and focus on Panama now, and finish strong in the group and top it.
England did have so much possession, created a few chances towards the end, but you as well had to stay switched on because we saw the threats that they posed too. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I've just mentioned there. We knew that they play counter-attacking. You've got like Semenyo, you've got some top players, some fast players, and you've got to be ready and be called upon, and that's what I felt like I did, even though not making many saves, just being in the right position at the right moment. And some of the lads is defending as well towards the end of the game, blocks, recovery runs, it was top draw. It was hard work put in that people sometimes don't see, and we would love to win the game, but we've not lost. We know it's tournament football, group stage football, and it's in our hands to top the group.
Is it perhaps a bit of a reality check after the highs of last week?
No, I think it's you play different teams every game, and we just didn't get that goal. It's simple as that, because we limited them to so many little chances, and we played well. We kept coming, we kept going all the way at the end, and just never managed to get that goal. But that's football.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers, Kelly. Thank you.
Frustrated, I think, Joe.
Yeah, of course. And Jordan's been there. He's a really experienced tournament goalkeeper now. Been brilliant for England, and he's seen many of these performances before they've gone on to do special things in a tournament. But that goal was key. We all know that we'd be having a totally different conversation if England could have unlocked them in the first half. But they didn't. Like I say, they've just got to learn from it and look to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, I think these games are so difficult to play in. I was talking to Joe off air, and remember we played Andorra away with England, and everyone's expecting to win 4-5-0, but they're so difficult to break teams down. I personally would have liked to see 2 centre forwards on there. But yeah, listen, it's a point. We're through to the next round. And then we've got Panama in the next game. I expect them to make changes and let someone else go and try and get themselves in that team for the knockout round.
It was just expectation though, wasn't it? Yeah. After Croatia, in the second half, they looked really special, a lot energised, a lot hungry, and they had the quality. Today, it looked like they had a lack of quality, which was strange, you know? I think if you're looking at Spain, France after their win, Mbappe in the form of his life, Messi doing what he's doing, we expected Kane to turn up tonight. Unfortunately, it wasn't his night, but he can put it right.
Even Ronaldo turned up.
Ronaldo, yeah.
And is that thinking, what is the rest of the world looking at, you know, kind of in this England, the first England that we saw against Croatia, the rest of the world's thinking this is a team that can go all the way. It's a long tournament. Are we still thinking England can go all the way, Wayne?
100%. I think England win it. So I think this performance it's a performance which I'm happy it's happened now.
Yeah.
But I certainly think these games, honestly, are so much tougher than if you play a Portugal, if you play a Spain, if you play a France. Then your concentration needs to be there. Your concentration in terms of defensively needs to be there. And I think that suits England. This team is built to play on counter-attack, in my opinion.
I just think it's not necessarily going to put fear into the likes of France and Spain and Portugal, the ones we're talking about, because they're going to have the reference of the Croatia game, because they're going to be coming at England. But the round of 32, the team, if England do finish top of their group, they potentially come up against a third place opposition. Maybe the round of 16 again, someone who's scraped through the group. They're the ones who are going to get inspiration from tonight.
I thought we might be having a conversation about who Thomas Tuchel could rest against Panama and where he might make changes. What would you like to see in that game?
Just higher energy, more risk. Someone like Rashford starting, I feel as Watkins as well. Give Kane a little bit of a rest, or maybe bring him on. Just that high energy. We bought into it with Croatia. Even though there was a low block, you can still have the high energy. I think it was just a little bit too slow today.
It's the tempo. I think to bring that energy we had against Croatia second half is really difficult when the team is sat there in the low block. It's the tempo and the speed of the ball. That's what it had to improve from tonight. Because you can't have players running all over the place because there's no space.
Still excited?
Of course we are. Come on, we're still excited.
Come on.
Excited enough to go to iPlayer?
We're gonna win.
I'm not sure if I'm that excited.
We're heading to iPlayer.